All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Experience Matters live call on our Facebook group page today. And I want to welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I have two really special guests with me today, existing clients. I'm going to introduce them to you in just a second. But again, we want to welcome everybody and say thank you for joining us. I just want to remind you that if you would hit that like button or the love button on your page there, it helps us with Facebook, drive more traffic to our site and more members in the long run. And I'll come back and remind a couple times during the call. So again, we're glad everybody is with us today. Hoping you're having a great week. And as we get back into it after the Memorial Day and hit the road going towards the summer. So we're trying to do this every Wednesday afternoon and hope it's a convenient time for everybody. And as I said before, we used to go out on the road and do these live events. And one of my guests that on here today, I think Matt, maybe Don, both have been at our events before, but this is kind of in lieu of those live events where we have 200 or 300 people at our event. Today we'll have a few people on the call and we'll kind of go through what we did at those events, talk a little bit about the company. I'll answer some questions that our guests maybe have, some questions that the listeners may put up, and we'll hear from the people. But I want to introduce you to Matt and Don today. Matt is in New Jersey, a longtime client of ours. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about the story in just a second. And then Don, who's a client of ours, been with us for a while, and so we're going to talk back and forth with them today and let them tell you how it's gone for them. But I'm going to get them first to start with Matt to kind of introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how things have been going in the last 3 or 4 weeks and how we all came together. So Matt, welcome.
Thank you, Kent. Thanks for having me here today. It's great to be on the call. I live in Weehawken, New Jersey, and at the present time, I'm actually doing this call from upstate New York. I've been working with REI Nation for 9 years now, and I have 11 properties with them. I have 7 in the Memphis market and 4 in the Dallas market. I began as a real estate investor back in 05, 06, buying property, renovating them and renting them. And I still manage some properties that I own on my own. But it was around the 2010 timeframe that I was really looking to be able to grow my portfolio and also had a full-time career. And so I was looking for a good way to do that. And it was great. After doing some research, I was able to find Memphis Invest, REI Nation, and begin investing with them in 2011. And it's just been just a fantastic experience since then. I've been buying at least one property a year, every year since then. So a nice long horizon there. And have just been really happy with everything they do. It's just been just great. So I'm happy to go into it further, but I'll stop there at that point.
Thank you very much, Matt. We'll get into hearing more about your story. Let's Don, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Ken. Don Tierney. I live in Moseley, Virginia, which is a suburb of Richmond, Virginia. With my wife and our 5 adult kids live in this area, along with 5 grandkids. So we're pretty fortunate to have the whole family in the greater Richmond area. I retired from Beam Suntory, a distilled spirits company, 3 years ago, about 3 years ago, after having over 30 years with them. At the time, I had talked with my older brother, Bob, who was also a member of REI Nation. And he was very active with Fortune Builders after a 30-plus year career with IBM. And through Fortune Builders, I was with him, and we met up with the Memphis Invest at the time people. And 4 years ago, wound up getting my first property. And then every year since, I've gotten one. So I'm on track to keep that pace going. I've got more plans later this year. But if it wasn't good, I wouldn't keep adding to it. And firm believer that, and this is my first foray into real estate investing, and I love it. When you talk to your financial people, they don't love it, but that's another story. We have great conversations about the real estate part of the portfolio, but it's been great, the experience with REI Nation and the team, and we can get into more of that later, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Ken.
Tell us, before we get into the whole lot about real estate, what you guys have been doing during this 10 or 11 weeks. Any new habits, any new hobbies during this thing as we've all been locked down? What have you been able to do wherever you're at, if anything?
Matt, you want to jump?
I'm happy to go. Sure, I'll go. So I've been spending a lot of time indoors, been doing a lot of reading and such. We live in Weehawken, New Jersey, as I mentioned, which is right across the river from Midtown Manhattan. So about as hot a spot for the virus as you can imagine, and restrictions are quite heavy. So I've been spending a little bit of time in upstate New York, where I am now, where there's still restrictions, but you're able to operate a little more freely, just because there's more space. But really just been spending a lot of time inside and focused on real estate as always, but being able to do a few more things with real estate that I normally don't get to spend as much time on. So that's been great.
Very good. Don?
Well, it's been a little bit of an adjustment. Our governor shut down the state early on, and it's still on lockdown for the most part. We went to phase one a little over a week ago, even though the city of Richmond did not. So it's been interesting. People get stir crazy. Thankfully, the golf courses are still open. So we've been working on the golf game a little bit more, and doing a lot of walking in addition to keeping up with the real estate piece of the action. And I do some consulting in the distilled spirits industry. So that's been very quiet because of what's going on right now, but trying to stay active without putting on the coronavirus 15 and enjoying life with the family as well.
There you go. Well, thanks for that. So let me, so both you gentlemen own properties with REI. Were you doing any real estate investing prior to our meeting each other, or was this the first time both of y'all can jump in?
Sure. So I had purchased a couple properties, renovated and rented them, and I still manage those today. But as I mentioned, I was looking to grow my portfolio faster, and there's only so much time in a day. And so finding REI Nation was just fantastic, and I found it a great way to grow my portfolio. And also in doing that over that time period, I haven't purchased any more properties that I personally manage. I really feel that the turnkey solution is the way to go. As I mentioned, I still own and manage a couple of the ones that I had purchased before I was able to find REI Nation, and I know what goes into it, and there's a lot of work, and it's much easier day to day with REI Nation managing my properties in Memphis and Dallas, as opposed to the ones that I still own, and where I get the phone calls in the middle of the night and whatnot. So it's been great to have your management taking care of my properties.
So Matt, following up on that, have you been to Memphis and Texas and seen all 11 of your properties over the years?
I've been to Memphis and Texas, both of them a couple of times, but I haven't seen all of my properties. The last few that I've purchased over the last couple of years, I still have not seen. I should probably make a trip at some point, because I do enjoy coming down to see you guys and to go and check out the properties. But the ones I've visited have been well maintained. They were everything I expected them to be. And so for the ones that I haven't seen yet, I have every confidence that they are being well taken care of.
Well, you're not alone. Probably over half of the people that invest with us, we have 2,000 investors in over 6,100 properties today. And we have 350 plus investors that are in our WOW group that own 5 or more properties. I think we have about 35 people today that own 10 or more properties. And to the best of our calculation, about 50% of our investors have never seen all of their houses. So you're okay, Matt. And this is
all right.
This is on the call what a lot of people sometimes have a problem with. In fact, every month that we, as our salespeople work through houses, some people want to come visit our houses, and some people, if they're referred by somebody else, say you don't have to worry about it. Just you're fine. So I just wanted to ask you that question, Don. Same question for you. Have you had a chance to see all of yours?
Okay, so I'm 0 for 4. I look at some great plaques on the wall that are of the properties, but that's as close as I've gotten to the actual properties. And actually, my brother and myself were supposed to come out to Memphis early, this H1 of this year to check out the properties, to visit your new offices, and obviously that didn't happen. But it is on the agenda to get out there.
And just for everybody on here, anybody can come anytime. Matt, you've been here, and you've been to our offices. We go out and we look at the properties and we see them all. And so anytime anybody wants to come, we certainly can do that. And back through the years, before this hit in the middle of March, we would have 3 to 5 guests just about every week coming through our office. We hope to start that back up again. But again, Don, some people find it ironic that when you talk to them about you've never seen your properties. Well, we have people all over the country, really all over the world. We have probably 15 countries outside of us, outside the United States. We have a lot of investors in Hawaii that I know that probably some on the call maybe not have seen any or all their properties. We've been to Hawaii several times, have a lot of investors over there. And I know some of them have been here and some of them haven't. And then the same thing around the country. But we find it interesting sometimes when we're dealing with clients that it's hard to believe when we tell them a lot of our clients haven't seen their properties. So, so Matt, how did we come together? I know Don came through the Fortune Builders channel. How did we come together, Matt, 10, 11 years ago?
Sure. So I was a subscriber to a real estate investment magazine in which you were featured in, and I had first found you there, and then did a lot of research over the course of over a year. I talked to Mark Cobb, I think about a year in, and was really just trying to figure out if this whole turnkey thing was what I was hoping it would be, but everything I saw looked great. And so I went ahead and called Mark one day and said, let's do this. Let's go ahead and buy a property. And I think you were due to come to New York right around that time frame. It was around April, I think, of 2011. And so I had signed my first contract, I think about 3 weeks before, and then met all of you when you came to New York, but the deal was, already in the works. And that's pretty much how it all got started.
Wow. That's amazing. And then the rest is history, right? So
that's right.
Tell me, and then I'm going to ask Don the same question. Tell me how, Matt, you have Cindy as customer service rep, right?
Correct.
And how long have you and Cindy been working together? She's been with us, I think, probably 9 or 10 years.
It's been all 9 years.
How does she do for you? How often do y'all chat? Tell me how she does for you.
Cindy does great. I always enjoy speaking with her. She's always very prompt and keeps me well informed. We talk at least once a month. As the portfolio has grown, there may be things that come up, whether it's a lease renewal or even a maintenance item. And so sometimes I end up talking to Cindy multiple times. Sometimes it's once a week. It just depends what's going on. But she's great and calls me anytime that there's anything that I need to know.
Well, we have 7 ladies in our customer service department that handle our 2,000 investors. We try to speak to every investor every month. We set up times and appointments and calls, and a lot of times it's just an update on the property. A lot of times it's really no update. It's just talking. They've built these fantastic relationships with these people for years and years and years. Some of our customer service ladies know our clients probably better than Chris and I and Brett know them because they talk to them every single month. But it's something that we set up a long time ago to be a little bit different from anybody else, where one of the biggest complaints that we heard when we first started in the business that nobody could ever get a hold of anybody. And they didn't know what was going on with their property and they couldn't get answers. And I wanted to go in the opposite direction and set up this department where we call our customers every single month to let them know what's going on. Now, they may not like it from time to time that they had to move out, but at least they get it straight and we can all move forward and do whatever we got to do. Because there is move outs, sometimes there is maintenance, but there's also renewals. And every year we renew over right at 2,000 new leases every month that prevented 2,000 move outs because we're aggressively pursuing these renewals 6 months out and trying to get these new 2-year leases. And our average tenant today, our average resident stays about 5 years. So Don, let me ask about your customer service rep, Carrie. How is she doing? And then I'm going to talk to you about Ashley Tinker for a second. How's Carrie doing for you?
Well, actually, it's Jill Barnett.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you're exactly right. My bad.
Jill has been with me from day one, and it's been great. We've really developed our relationship, especially the last half year or so. We had a little fire at one of the properties, and she helped me from start to finish. And I tell you what, I was very antsy before this got going, and the whole process was tremendous. And Jill did a great job just managing, coordinating, communicating every step of the way. So thank you to Jill. I really do appreciate everything that she does for me. And my brother has Cindy as well, and he speaks very highly of her. So you do have a tremendous team in place there.
Thank you very much. And as you move into the WOW group, we have Carrie and Cindy that handle most of our WOW clients, although some want to remain with their person. But Jill's done a great job, been with us a long time, has hundreds and hundreds of clients that she handles. Let me talk about Ashley Tinker, because I keep asking her, I said, how close are you to getting to Don into the WOW group? And she said, we're getting closer and closer. So I said, well, I'm going to talk to him about it today, because there's some great perks when you get into that group of 5 or more properties. So I know you guys are working on it. How's Ashley Tinker doing for you?
She's been great. The thing with Ashley, she listens and we talk, and she knows exactly what I'm looking for when it's time. But she was out on maternity leave, came back, and follow-up's been great. Check in. So I told her we'll be moving forward in the near future. But Ashley's been a great sales person for your company, and Mark, even dealt with Mark a little bit as well. Mark has been fine for us, my brother as well.
I don't think Matt will give up on Mark, will you, Matt? I don't think you'll trade him, will you?
Well, I wouldn't trade him, but I did have probably a couple of years where I had Ashley Clonch, and she was just great as well. And so I've enjoyed over the 9 years working with both of them, but I am very happy with Mark as well.
Very good. Though Ashley Clonch has been with us probably 10 years now. Mark has been with us for as long as anybody has been with us. They've both literally sold thousands and thousands of houses. Ashley Tinker's catching up with them, though. She's coming on strong as far as people that she's selling to. But so what's one of the biggest reasons and why you're with us today, Matt and Don? What are the biggest reasons REI or Premier that works for you?
I'll jump on this one.
Go ahead.
This all started, I was winding down my career and thinking of a time to retire. And my brother was big into the fortune builders, and then he got into Memphis Invest. And I wanted passive at the time, working full-time, traveling a lot, just a lot of responsibility. Didn't have a lot of time to manage, but I wanted to get into real estate. And so the passive situation with Memphis Invest seemed perfect. And then the reputation, the recommendations with the fortune builders and my brother, it was a no-brainer after I dug in and learned a lot more about the company, what it offered, and the ease of managing passively turnkey properties. So it was the easiest way to get into it.
Matt, what do you think?
I mean, for me, you know, as I mentioned, I wanted to continue to grow my portfolio. And so, you know, I thought it was a great way to do that. I really liked, you know, the properties that you had available. I liked the numbers, the cash flow. I liked the market. But a couple of things that really stood out was that rapport that I built in those early days with Mark. And then as I met, you know, more of the group, that rapport was fantastic. I just had this feeling that was exactly the type of people that I wanted to do business with. And beyond that, be friends with. I mean, I always enjoy our time together, and that's been fantastic. You know, and then aside from that, you know, as I learned more and experienced more, the customer service that you talk about that has always been there and has only improved over time, was something that was great. Like you said, you know, when you have something that you want addressed and you make a phone call and someone always answers the call, that's important. And then one of the biggest things for me in choosing to work with you and invest with you is that you were multi-generational. And that was huge for me because I was in this for the long haul. I see myself as a real estate investor for the rest of my life. And so I didn't want to get 5 or 10 years down the road and then everything changes. So I wanted someone that I could partner with and really work with on that. And so the fact that your company was multi-generational and just continues to you know, groom the younger generation coming up through in your approach was instrumental for me, and was a big factor in why I selected your company to work with.
Well, Don, I'm gonna get you to answer the same question, but Matt, I don't know, several events that we would have over the last 10 years, I would get asked up on stage, what's the succession plan? And, you know, because again, we've had people that have been, this is our 17th year, and we've had people that have had properties with us all the way through. And it's going to continue to grow to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 properties. But I have my oldest grandson sitting right here beside me. The Chris and Brett, you guys are well familiar with. Chris oversees our marketing department, works with our sales department. He's on the call here also. Brett oversees all the buying in all the cities and works with our CFO on all the numbers that we do. We have Kent Jr. that's out in San Diego that helps us in a lot of different areas. We have Jerry in Dallas oversees our IT department and works with our sales department. We have Nate Gray that's been with me for 10 or 12, 13 years in property management, that oversees all the property management for all the cities on 6,000 plus properties. And Missy down in Dallas oversees our Dallas properties. We have Ryan that works with Brett in our buying department. Drew, another family member, works in the buying department. So we have a lot of talent coming up. We have a really good bench that are people that are developing and becoming leaders. And then our sales team is made up of a solid core of veteran people. Our renovation department headed up by Mark Anderson for the last 10 years, the renovations that we do. So we had a really, really good bench, and I probably left off some people. I'll probably get in trouble, all right? But we've got a great team of people spread out over 7 cities, and But let me go back to Don and kind of how we came together. Don, I know you talked about Fortune Builders, and did you get to finish what you were talking about?
Uh, yeah, just to add on, that's how I was introduced. And then I was working full time, very busy in the career. And I got my first property, which was easy to do. And then I started thinking about the next property and the next property. And then eventually saw that I was in a position to finally retire, just had turned 57 years old. So I'm excited to be part of it, want to continue to expand the portfolio. But it was my brother was the one who introduced us, and that's what connected the dots.
Let me jump in here. We got a lot of people on the call. I just want to again remind everybody that if people have joined the call in the last few minutes, that if you don't mind, hit the like button and or the love button. It helps us helps Facebook send more people to the group. And if you want to drop your city and state in there where you're from, that would be great. But I'm going to answer a quick question here from one of our listeners. What is our criteria for choosing the market you've invested in? Well, we started in Memphis, and today we have, I think it's 3,500 of the 6,000 properties in Memphis, followed by Dallas with about 1,500. Then Houston is the next one. Little Rock is now becoming a really, really big city for us. And then, of course, we're in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, I think I mentioned Houston, and St. Louis. So we like the geographic area of those 7 cities. Back earlier this year, we were talking and considering other cities. We've kind of tabled that right now to see how all this comes out and where we're going. Buying is the most important thing. We're looking for a certain price point that we would like to stay under for our investors, certain return that we want, certain type of neighborhood that we want. We're very particular about the cities that we're in and the zip codes that we're in and what we're trying to do in certain cities. So a lot goes into that thinking. And the next part of the call, are there reasons you've avoided other markets where other REI offers properties? I'm not quite sure what that exactly means, but we just try to look at markets that we can go buy the right property in the right neighborhood at the right price. Stay above that $1,000 mark, preferably for rental. Most of our rents are $1,000 or more. Texas is 12, 13, 1,400. So we're looking for a certain type of a resident that's going to be there for a while and be in that property and take care of it. So those are things that are most important. So let me go back to Matt and for somebody on the call that's thinking about getting in the business, what piece of advice would you give them as they think about or hear you guys talk today? Somebody that's considering buying passive, making an investment in passive, what advice would you give them today?
Yeah, sure. So I'm happy to go. The one thing I would say is to trust what you're hearing on this call and what you hear from REI Nation. They really do what they say they're going to do. Over 9 years, they've never disappointed me one bit. I've been extremely happy. And so I would say don't be too analytical. I think I spent 1 to 2 years researching, but I didn't have the benefit of talking to other investors that were already doing it. So I was kind of figuring it out on my own. But the one piece of advice I would say is, get your information, do your due diligence, certainly, but then just get started and build that portfolio. If there was one thing that, I wish I did more of was buy more properties even faster. So I would just encourage you to get started.
Don, what advice would you give any of our listeners today?
Well, as Matt said, it's very important to have trust in your business partner, and you guys have been absolutely tremendous business partners, great trust. Took to heart your core values of your company, which to me are very, very important. And it's not just not fodder. It's actually what your values are sincere, and you live up to them. So I think that's very important. As Matt said, and I wish I was in Matt's shoes when he had all these properties at that age, because things would have been a lot different. But you're right. You got to pull the trigger. You got to start somewhere. And Memphis Invest, REI Nation, it's been tremendous. If you don't have a ton of knowledge, there is trust there, and they make it so easy for you to get in. Once you get in, it's almost like a potato chip. Once you start eating one, you got to have another one. So that's with real estate investing. Once you get your toe wet, you'll want more. And this is a great place to do that.
Well, you know, the name of the call is Experience Matters, and I did several podcasts back a couple years ago. They're up on our website talking about Experience Matters. There's probably 30 or 40 of them up there. But Matt, why is experience important in passive income? Why is that? Why is it important to you, if it is?
Well, I would say it's certainly important because there's so many different areas that someone in your position needs to be knowledgeable of. Within real estate, there's a number of different things that come up, whether it be ensuring that, you know, leases are renewed, houses are rented, repairs are made. And so I think, you know, having that experience with what you have of over 6,000 properties is so important, as opposed to someone that's just trying to start this new, because there would be a huge learning curve for anybody trying to begin here. And I think just having that experience allows you to know how to handle the different situations that come up and handle them quickly and with quality.
Thank you. Don, what do you think?
The economies of scale that you'll have generated with the numbers that you have produced enable you to have the best of relationships with the contractors. You get the right properties in the right neighborhoods. You have the right people doing the work. You know exactly what needs to be done. And then for closings, for property management, it just makes it very, very easy. That you don't have sleepless nights. And there are a lot of people out there that solicit you once you get involved with REI Nation. And you don't be lulled by the promises. You know what you're getting here. I really do believe that. And I'm sure with the success, you just see it in Memphis alone. You guys got it going, and then there's a lot of competition, because I don't know about you, Matt, but I've received quite a few solicitations over the years of people trying to get in your pockets, whether it's property management or properties to purchase. So
Well,
all the time.
that was one of the hesitations we had about this group right here, is that we knew when we started this, there would be some people on here that would come on and advertise and maybe even direct message some of the people are on here. And so we thought that since we've done this long enough, 17 years, we got a very good reputation. Our reputation, credibility, and integrity mean more to us than anything out there. We know we bring a lot of value. We know we've got great people working at our company. If somebody can save a little bit of money and go to another property management company, which they have, and then they've come back, that's okay too. We've had some that have left and come back, some that have left and haven't come back for whatever reason, and that's okay. We're not perfect, and we don't claim to be, and we're not for everybody, because we are so detailed in what we do, chasing this perfect experience for our investors and for our vendors and for our employees and for our residents that rent houses. We want all four groups of those people to have a great experience with us. And we work very hard every day to try to do that. It's not just something that we talk about, but we know our competition looks at us. We know they're watching us. We have other companies that we look at also to learn how we can do things better, because we need to learn how to get better. We're on the way to 10,000 properties, and that's going to happen here in the next few years. And we know we have to get better at what we do. We're working on systems and better systems today that we can do all of that in. But we know that we got a long way to go. We can get a lot better in what we do. And having you guys on here today talking about it, and hopefully we bring some value, and all of that experience that we do with people that we've been talking about today are they're the reason why we're here today. Chris and I and Brett, we just try to keep this big mother on the tracks here, okay, and make sure that we got really good, strong leadership, which we do, and they're all getting better. let me look over here and see if I got another question. Oh, somebody asked me, somebody was at one of our events in Memphis about 6 or 7 years ago when we had an interesting thing that we were at a hotel here. We had about 300 investors or prospective investors and current investors in town. And they started bringing us these flyers that were slid under their hotel room door. And then they were in the restrooms. The flyers were in the lobby bar. The flyers, one of our competitors, while we were in the meeting, came down and put all their flyers under all 200 room doors and put them all down in the lobby bar. And as you step off the elevator where there's usually a table there, they had put them all there. So yeah, we have some people that are chasing our clients because we got great clients like you guys. And but hopefully we've done a good enough job over the years in bringing them value and great communication and great service that they continue to grow their portfolio with us. So Don, what other comments on the call? We'll wrap this up here in a couple minutes. Would you have, or anything that you'd want to ask me, or anything on your mind? Then Matt, I'll come to you here in just a second.
Well, one thing, y'all are exclusively in residential right now. Are there any thoughts down the road about doing anything commercial?
Well, today is a good day that I don't want to own any commercial. Let me tell you, because I have some friends in the commercial business that I have a really good friend that has several commercial shopping centers here in Memphis, and he's not having very good luck on collecting rents today. And already some of his retail business has gone out. We don't own any retail centers. We own our office building here. We just sold our office in Texas, and we're now going to be leasing some space over there out in South Lake. We own a couple other small commercial buildings, but we got into this single family thing, and we've had some duplexes a couple times and a couple triplexes. We have offers all the time on apartment complexes from 16 to 32 to 64, whatever, however many units. We've looked at it. We know that's an easy way to grow the doors. But this is what we do. We do single family houses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garages for the most part. We've got that down pretty good. And we know that there's plenty of those out there that we can buy. We're going to continue to stay on that area, but I'll never say no about down the road. And our company continues to grow and continues to get bigger. Our investors are telling us what they want, what they would like, and we'll just have to see where it goes. Let me see if I got another question here. So one of our callers wants to know if you guys like all of the markets that we're in and why you may have chose the market that you're in or where you have your houses.
Sure. So I'm happy to take that. I mean, I am in, as I mentioned, 2 markets, so Memphis and Dallas. And when I began, it was Memphis only, so that was an easy choice. I've been very happy with Memphis. As REI Nation expanded to Dallas and Houston, there were 3 choices, and I chose to go with Dallas. I like the economy there and the diversity of businesses there, and so I thought that was a good market to expand to. I haven't gone beyond that yet. I know that the other markets are certainly quality markets, or REI Nation would not be there. Again, that trust factor, I've come to trust that when they make a decision, it's a good decision. So we'll see down the road, but I can't really speak to the other markets, but I have been very happy with Memphis and Dallas.
Don?
When I first got involved, I believe y'all were just in Memphis, and that's where I started. That's where y'all were based out of. That's where you were big. That's what I opted to go with at the time. That was my comfort level, even as you expanded. And as Matt said, there's trust, no doubt that if you're going to set up shop in another city, you know what you're doing, and you've got your systems and processes and criteria before you get involved in that business there. I will look down the road for other markets, but for some reason, I don't know. You guys are there. I love Memphis, so Memphis has been it.
We continue to buy a lot of houses every month in Memphis. It's we oversee Memphis and St. Louis out of here. Then our Dallas office oversees the other 5 cities, and we look at the numbers every single day online. We're going to rent about 160 houses this month. They told me a little while ago on our 1 o'clock meeting in all 7 of our markets, which is a good number. Our collections, we were very concerned about our collections as we went into April, and they came out great. This month, they reported to me just a few minutes ago at 1 o'clock that we're right at 94% in all of our markets today. And we got a big weekend coming up where they think that'll push our rents right on up there for the weekend as we get closer to the first of the month. So we're dialed in and tuned in on what's going on with our residents. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we set up a task force back in the last week of last week of March, not knowing what was really going to happen in April. And we took 8 of our strongest people that had been with us the longest and assigned them to the first week of April, start talking to everybody that had not paid to see what was going on in their situation, on whether they were getting a stimulus or unemployment, or they got furloughed or laid off or whatever. We attacked this very aggressively back in that first 10 days of April. And we were able to really touch base with a lot of our residents, work through things with them, retain a lot of them, and work out ways for them to get paid and get our owners paid. So this is to me where our experience comes in at, when we can do things. I can take 6 or 8 people that have been with me for 8 or 10 years and say, hey, I'm going to pull you guys off, and I want you to spend several hours a day working on this project. And this is what I think kind of separates us sometimes from other people, because we have the experienced people around in our company that can go do this. And they did a great job of it. They did a great job. Reported back to us every day at 1 o'clock as we saw these rents continue to come in. And it's like today, we're already calculating today how much rent has already come in for the month of June. And they're already talking today. We know we've collected hundreds of thousands of dollars of rent already the last week of this month for June. So we're already looking at that way ahead of time. So those are the little things that we do. But look, I've tied you guys up for 45 minutes here almost. It's been a great time talking to you. I wanted to see if you had any final comments on anything, then we'll jump off of here.
Well, as you said, the little things like going after the rents that you just did, we don't see that, but we just know that you and your team, they're doing everything they can to keep this as smooth as possible. That's why it's Turnkey. I just want to thank you and the whole REI company for everything that you've done, and just keep it up. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Matt, do you have any final thoughts? First off, I want to congratulate you on your engagement. I didn't want to get off the call without saying that. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I think for me, I just similarly, I just want to say thank you for everything that you and the team do. It's just been a great experience for 9 years, and I look forward to continue, to work with you. And it's just great how well and how quickly you are able to respond and to do things. You're achieving your goal of customer service. It's unlike anything you really find anywhere. And so it's definitely recognized and appreciated every day.
Well, I tell people, and my background was in the grocery supermarket industry, and I was a customer service freak then. I'm still a customer service freak. And it's all about service and the experience that you or any of us have in any place that we shop even. And if we can deliver you a fantastic experience, you might, if we earn the opportunity, refer somebody to us, which a lot of our customers do. 50% of the houses we sell every month come from our existing customers or somebody they referred to us. And we take that really, really seriously. And we want to stay on our game every day. We want to get better. We have unbelievable people. We talk about average people can't work for our company, and they can't because of the great people that work here. They want to be working with highly motivated, energetic, high energy people. And that's what we have working on our company, to be able to perform at the high level that we try to do every single day. We want to bring it all every day. and have a better experience for you as an investor. And as I said, as our vendors, we want to do the right thing with our residents, and most importantly, the great team that works for us. So with that said, I will tell you guys that when we get through here, this will be up on the site as a recording, and it'll be up there for people to see and that weren't on here live. So again, I just want to thank on behalf of our company and our family. Thank you for the time you spent today. Thank you for your business. And it's been a great time this afternoon talking to you. I look forward, we'll do it again. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Always great to talk with you.
Have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Look forward to seeing you soon too out there.
All right. Be safe.
Thank you.